What's up, guys? How you doing today? You're rocking out with the one and only PhillyDom. I'm out here in El Salvador. I'm hanging out with my friend Dolly, and I'm just gonna start asking the questions. We're gonna jump right into it because a lot of people was asking me in my Instagram and my Facebook and WhatsApp, asking me different questions about El Salvador. So she's gonna talk a little bit about her life growing up in El Salvador, and hopefully she can answer any question you have about El Salvador, good or bad, or even some kind of travel questions. So we're gonna jump right into it. I'm not really gonna answer no questions yet. I'm gonna just do the interview with her, and then I'll save some questions for the end. So Dolly, where did you grow up in El Salvador?
I was born in the state of La Libertad.
Okay.
That's the state that I was born in. I was born in a city called, well, it's not a city, a neighborhood called Ciudad Merliot. That's what I was born. And then when I was 2 years old, I moved to Santa Tecla. That is the capital of the state of La Libertad. And that's where I have lived ever since. I just lived in San Salvador for a year. I didn't like living in San Salvador that much. And then I went back to Santa Tecla.
Okay. Where did you learn to speak English? Because all the time when I do the videos, people always ask, "Why is our English so good?" Did she ever spend time in the States or Europe or Canada or Australia or something? How did you learn to speak English?
I went to English classes when I started when I was in preschool. It was not, I didn't go to a bilingual school, but my parents put me in like English classes on the side. And I went to those classes for many, many years. And then after that, I have always had jobs that require me to speak English. I worked at a call center briefly. I didn't like the call center. Um, the work environment was not
Okay.
for me.
Hmm.
And then after that, I worked as an English teacher for about 5 or 6 years. And after that, I got a job doing translations. That is what I'm currently doing. So I think that has helped me to improve my English because I'm constantly using it for work.
Okay.
And I have never spent any time in the States or Canada or another country. I haven't been deported. That is another question that
Yeah, people ask if you
they have
deported.
asked you. Yeah.
No, but you would have to go to the States to get deported,
Yeah.
Canada or wherever from.
So, no, that's not the case. It was English classes since I was in preschool and then practicing, and and that's it, pretty much.
Okay, you just got good at it. So do you think you're expert in English or just better than average?
I don't think I'm an expert, but I think I can manage very well.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
your grammar's well.
I
You
I
speak
improved
well.
I improved my grammar a lot when I was teaching during that time. I knew a lot of stuff, but I didn't know the actual names of the rules and grammatical terms. But I learned that because I had to teach it, I had to memorize all of those things. So I think my grammar improved a lot. And yeah, I know how to express myself perfectly in English. I don't have any problems with that.
Okay. You have no problem expressing yourself in English. This is the elephant in the room. You always got to ask this question when it comes to El Salvador. Hopefully, it doesn't offend you or any other El Salvadorian. How dangerous is El Salvador?
That is it's a very tricky question. Not because I want to paint a picture that is not there, but it's a difference between El Salvador for Salvadorians and El Salvador for foreigners. If you are a person with a lot of money and you're Salvadorian, your view of El Salvador is going to be different because most likely you live in a gated community, a private neighborhood, um, an apartment building with a lot of security cameras, this and that. So you're going to have a feeling of being safe. The same thing if you're a foreigner, you're gonna stay in hotels or Airbnbs that are in very nice areas. You're gonna move in the, more common areas of San Salvador. You are going to feel very safe. But for Salvadorians, it's not always the same story. It depends a lot on where you live, um, what time of the day you have to move to work or something, because the nighttime is obviously more dangerous than moving around during the daytime. It depends a lot. I think that even if, because I don't know if you have seen in the news that there have been a lot of arrests trying
Yes.
to clear the
Clean up the country.
clean up the country. I'm I think that it's an effort, but there's still a lot of things to do. There's still robberies, there's still crime, and that is the type of crime that affects the regular uh, common Salvadorian. You
Okay.
can still get robbed in the bus.
Okay.
You can still get robbed, walk into your house at night. That type of things can still happen because crime is not only gang members. There's thieves, for
Yes.
example.
It makes sense.
And in El Salvador, stealing phones is like a big thing because they just resell them.
Okay.
Or stealing car parts. That is another thing. So it is still a dangerous country, but as a traveler, if you stay in the safe areas like malls, hotels, and you use Uber or a taxi, or even if you rent a car, I think you're going to feel pretty safe because even gang members and criminals, they know that a foreigner is like a not a it wouldn't be a good idea to rob someone that is clearly not Salvadorian.
Okay.
Yeah, because there was this famous case of these white YouTubers that were here and
Okay.
someone robbed them. They stole their laptop and
Okay.
it went very viral. And even the president got involved. He gave them a new tablet,
Okay.
I mean, laptop,
Laptop.
and it was a big deal. So I think that helped for people to understand, oh, if I touch a foreigner, it's gonna become a big deal. So as a foreigner, you're gonna have a better time than a regular Salvadorian. I don't know if it's like that in every country, but that's how I see the issue of security here in El Salvador. It depends on who you are and how much money you have. That's gonna give you a different view of the issue of security.
Okay. I got another question regarding what are ethnicity of the people that live here? Because I've been here a couple times. I rarely see black people. Do you have any black El Salvadorians there?
There is people of African descent. Even if black people were expelled by a president in the 30s, and not only black people, it was basically everyone that was not Salvadorian, like white looking Salvadorian, indigenous people, Asians, Arabs, um, black people, like everyone that was not Salvadorian, they
Mhm.
were kicked out of the country. A lot of indigenous people were killed. It was like a massacre. They were killed in large groups by this president. So it made us more. We are like more. We're not diverse. You are gonna see people that do have indigenous traits and also black traits, but it's not very clear. Like, for example, you can go to certain parts of the country and you're going to find people with very curly hair, like afro type of hair,
Okay.
very dark skin, a wide nose, fuller lips, and maybe these people are descendants of a black person, but since we don't really talk about cultural diversity and race, they don't even acknowledge it or don't accept it. And I'm sure that if you told a person like you're a black El Salvadorian, they will try to say no because they think like our vision of diversity is so short.
Okay.
They're gonna tell you like no, but black people live in Africa, and yet they don't understand that you don't identify as a black El Salvadorian because it was the government's idea all along to do that
Okay.
because they wanted to keep everyone looking like nice and whitish, right?
Okay.
So we have talked about this before in El Salvador. Everything is so, we're all so similar in a way that when we fill government papers, we don't have a race box.
Okay.
They just
Wow.
ask you your nationality because there are people from other nationalities living here. But I have never been asked what my race is because we're so similar. We're not diverse. We're seeing more black people now, but they're coming from other places,
Okay.
especially playing sports.
Okay.
There's a lot of guys playing sports, mostly soccer and basketball,
Okay.
and they come from, I don't know, Panama, Colombia, even Honduras, because Honduras has a a larger black population. So, in summary, we don't have like a black community per se, but you can see it in the people,
Okay.
darker skin, and you can see that somewhere in their family history there is black people.
Okay. I heard in the news today that El Salvador is on the verge of defaulting on their foreign debt. How is the economical situation in El Salvador at the present moment?
The economic situation is very complicated right now because the information going around can vary depending on where you get it from. But the biggest newspapers and media outlets have been reporting that we are not doing well at all. Apparently, the purchase of Bitcoin was not a very good idea because it lost value. And also, another part of the economy that is going to be affected is retirement funds. Because in El Salvador, the government can, let's say, borrow your retirement funds to
Okay.
use them in whatever they want to use it. And then they're supposed to
Return
pay
it.
it back. But the rhythm in which El Salvador has been getting into debt puts us at risk that we're going to retire and the state is not going to be able to pay back the money that they took. So there is a big chance that you retire and they tell you, sorry, we don't have your money. So it puts us in a very vulnerable position because a lot of people work hard for many years and we don't have a culture of saving. So a lot of people are depending only on their pension. And what if it disappears? You're going to have a large population of elderly people not able to go back to work and probably with no money to survive. So yes, debt is it's a big problem right now, and also the prices of everything. Inflation is affecting us a lot, and it's very noticeable. You go, like, for example, in my case, I'm in charge of the groceries in my house, so I know
Okay.
exactly the amount of things that I can get with a certain amount of money. And now I know that I have to spend a lot more to get the same stuff. So that is another problem too. The gas prices are high. The price of rent is going up. Even your bills are getting higher. Everything is, all the prices are changing, but our salaries are staying the same. We're not making more money. So
Okay.
it puts a lot of pressure on us to continue keeping our lifestyle with the same amount of money, and everything is more expensive.
Have you ever considered moving to like the U.S., Canada, or another rich country?
I did consider it when I was in my 20s, but right now, I don't think. I mean, the idea sounds attractive, but I'm the primary caregiver for my parents. I don't have any brothers or sisters. I live with them, and I'm their primary caregiver. So that puts me in a kind of difficult situation because if I left, they will stay by themselves, and they're getting kind of old, and they have health problems and everything. But I think that if I had the opportunity to make sure that someone was going to take care of them, I wouldn't mind migrating.
To what country would you go to if you had a choice to pick?
Um, the U.S. has not been my favorite, but I wouldn't mind it
Why?
because, and this is gonna sound like what people from the states say about us. Everything that you hear on the news, like school shootings and people getting killed at Walmart and all these crazy things that you hear on the news makes me feel unsafe in a different way because I'm used to carrying my phone in my purse and not having gold jewelry on because they can rob me or not taking out too much money out of the ATM. That's the type of precautions that I can take
Okay.
because that's the type of insecurity that I'm used to. But for example, when I went to school, it never occurred to me that a kid in my class would bring a gun and shoot me. And that is a reality that I'm not able to comprehend because I never felt that type of unsafe. For me, school was always safe. Even college, and even though I went to the only public school in El Salvador, it still felt like a safe environment. But I wouldn't feel safe like that in
In the U.S.,
in
you
the
don't.
US. Like for example, 4th of July. If you ask me to go to a 4th of July parade, I will be very nervous. It will give me a lot of anxiety to think that a person can come and start shooting. I haven't living in El Salvador, I have never seen someone get killed right in front of my eyes. Never. And I think that in a large gathering of people, that could happen. It's like the shooting thing is the main thing that gives me anxiety about the US.
So the media, or old media, they always portray El Salvador as very dangerous. So in your eyes, you think the U.S. is more dangerous than El Salvador? Or El Salvador is more dangerous than in your opinion, just your opinion.
In my
There's no
opinion,
right or wrong.
I think that they're both unsafe, but in different ways.
Okay.
Because I think the crime in El Salvador is more, how can I say it? It's like more,
Organized.
no, it's direct. A guy saw you at the mall and he knows that you have the newest iPhone, so he follows you, gets on the same bus that you got, puts a knife to your stomach and says, "Give me your phone." You give him the phone, and he's not even gonna rob anyone else. It happened to you, and he leaves. But in the US, violence is more like general. It affects a large group of people at the same time. A shooting in a movie theater, a shooting in a supermarket, a shooting in a parade. It's gonna affect a lot of people. And it makes me feel like it's something that you cannot even prevent because
Okay.
what are you going to do, not go out ever? That's insane. So it's very it makes you feel like there's basically nothing that you can do. Like I saw on the news that kids are buying bulletproof backpacks. That is crazy to me. And even then, a bulletproof backpack is not going to protect your head. So the shooter can shoot you in the head and you can still die. It's like very little things that you can prevent, that you can do to prevent.
And you don't see that in El Salvador.
And we don't see that. I have never heard of a school shooting in El Salvador. Never, ever. Or in history,
it just doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. And that makes me very nervous about the US because when you're a tourist in El Salvador, most likely, like 99% sure that nothing's going to happen to you. But I know that in the US, even if I'm a tourist, I can still get killed by a shooter. It's and even me being a person of color, being Latina, okay, I think puts me even more
at risk.
At risk, yeah. So that is the thing that I doesn't attract me to the US that much. But then on the other side, When I see people living in states that are a little bit more rural, I like that type of lifestyle because you can have more contact with nature. You don't have to live in a big city, and houses are bigger. You can grow a garden. Like that type of lifestyle is very attractive to me. Um, but big cities are not.
I'm not attracted to you.
Yeah, no, I don't feel attracted to big cities. So maybe if you ask me to move to a smaller town
In the
in
U.S.,
the US, yes, I will tell you yes, living like by a river or something like that would make me feel like I can have, or if I have children, they could have a childhood similar to mine
okay,
because that's how I grew up. Going to the beach, going to the river, playing with my cousins. No one was worried about safety or nothing. And I think that in a small town in the middle of nature, I can give that to a kid if I ever decide to have one.
okay. Let's talk about El Salvador a little bit and immigration. Do you have to stay in El Salvador for only 30 to 90 days as a tourist, or can you stay longer? And I go to the Dominican Republic a lot.
Mhm.
In the Dominican Republic, you can stay past your time in the Dominican Republic. You just get fined. Is that the same in El Salvador, or is it or a different protocol?
I am not sure if you get fined. I would have to ask around if you get fined, but the recommendation is for you to stay up to 90 days in El Salvador. If you want to stay longer without getting questions asked or paying fines, you just have to leave the country for a couple days and then come back. However, you need to keep in mind that we have um, an international agreement called CA4. That's Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and Nicaragua. So you need to go outside of the CA4 area.
And say the countries again.
Guatemala,
Oh,
Honduras, Nicaragua, and El Salvador. So if you're here and your time is expiring, you need to go to Costa Rica, Belize,
Panama,
Mexico, Panama. Yeah,
Colombia, somewhere.
somewhere. Stay for a couple days and then come back. If you go to Guatemala, it's still counting. You're still in the CA4 area, so it's not going to work for you.
Okay.
You need to go to another country for a couple days and then you have 90 days more. I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think that there's like a huge consequence to staying over the 90 days. But I think that in order to prevent any type of situation, just take a flight or a bus, go to another country for a couple days, and then come back. If you want to stay as a tourist, if you want to stay longer, as in to settle down, there is a possibility to get your temporary residency, and then you can move to having a permanent residency. And after years living here, you can get your Salvadoran ID and everything. You can become a citizen. It is possible to settle down in El Salvador, and it's gonna give you, if someone wants to work here, or if you want to invest, you can start building credit in El Salvador. It's going to give you more financial opportunities, etc. So it is possible as well.
Have they lifted all the COVID restrictions, or what's going on with the COVID situation here in El Salvador? People still wearing masks. What's going on?
Basically, right now, we're like, whatever you can do to stay safe on your own. The restrictions are none whatsoever. You don't need to show your vaccination card anywhere. You don't have to wear, it's not mandatory to wear a mask in public. There's basically no restrictions. You can go to bars, you can go to clubs, whatever you want to do, you can do it. But, and I think you can be my witness, a lot of people are still using masks.
Yeah, a lot of
It
people are
is
still.
it is like your personal
They are still wearing a mask.
yeah, it's like your personal choice. Like in my case, when I have to go to like the supermarket or a very crowded area, I wear a mask. because there's still a lot of COVID cases. And in my case, I live with my parents and they're old. So I just like to do it as a precaution. Keep using your alcohol thingy, sanitizer, washing
Sanitizer.
your hands, blah, blah, blah. But restrictions from the government, none whatsoever.
If I'm traveling to El Salvador for the first time, I've never been here. I never came to your country before. What would you recommend me to see, and where would you recommend me to go? Where would you recommend me to stay? Give a little tourist package.
Well, I think that it depends on the type of traveler. If you are like super, um, I don't want to say panicky, but if the situation really makes you nervous, I would recommend for you to stay in San Salvador.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we are in this neighborhood called San Benito.
Okay.
It's a very fancy neighborhood, very safe. So you can stay in a hotel. There's plenty of hotels. You have from the very expensive to the cheaper hotels. And the good thing about this area is that you have a lot of things in walking distance. So if traveling by car and being on the road makes you nervous, you can just walk or take a super short Uber ride from one point to the other. There's restaurants, bars, cafes, um, clubs. This area has a lot of nightlife. So everything is in walking distance and it's very safe. So I
Okay.
think San Salvador is like the best option. You can see the malls. You can. There's a couple museums here in San Benito, very close to the main hotels. So I think San Salvador is the safest option. If you feel a little bit more adventurous, you can stay in two of the biggest cities in San Salvador that are Santa Ana and San Miguel. That's another option. They're very developed. I'm not going to tell you that it's exactly the same as San Salvador, but you're still going to have the city vibe. Restaurants, bars, nice hotels, casinos, strip clubs, nightclubs, everything you can imagine. And then, if you are more like an adventurous traveler, I would advise to stay in a smaller town or at the beach
Okay.
because we have a very big coastline. So you can be jumping from beach to beach. And I think you would have a good time. You can also go to the mountains. And the advantage of El Salvador is that it's very small. So you can change your location constantly and it's not going to take you longer than 3 or 4 hours. So you can make the most of your time. But I think for a first time traveler, San Salvador and staying safe, and maybe your
Okay.
hotel has a shout out to El Tunco, that is the beach. The
Or
like,
Uber. You have Uber.
I wouldn't recommend Uber
Why?
because Uber takes you to El Tunco, but you cannot order an Uber back to San Salvador from El
Oh,
Tunco.
okay. So a shuttle is better.
Yeah, so I think a shuttle is better. A lot of hotels, they even have that service all the time. It's like we go, for example, on Mondays and Thursdays, we go to El Tunco and then we bring you back on this and this day. And it's going to be private transportation. It's going to be very safe. It's not going to be making any stops. And you can go to the beach and come back or rent a car or a taxi. And for people that are more adventurous, you have done it, you can go in the bus. There's a
Okay.
bus that goes to El
Tunca every
Tunco
day.
every day. The only thing is that it stops running a little early. So you can go during the day to El Tunco, spend the night over there or a couple nights, and then make your way back to San Salvador during the daytime.
Okay, Jeremy. This is a sidebar question. Jeremy, aka Alpha Mel, he wants to know what you think of him. He's listening in from Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, United States of America. He said, "What do you think of him?"
Jeremy?
Who else? What other Jeremy you know? How many Jeremys you know?
He's a very nice person.
You're a very nice person, Jeremy.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Yeah, when I met him, I had a very good time with him. A very,
Okay.
very nice person.
All right, that was just a sidebar question. Back to some other questions here. Do they restrict electricity and water like in Venezuela or the Dominican Republic? I don't like the randomly losing power for hours. I've never lost power here in El Salvador. I'm going to speak on it. I've never, in DR, Haiti, Dominican Republic, you can go hours. Sometimes the power just drops.
Yeah, no, that doesn't happen in El Salvador. I mean, it can happen if there's a storm. For example, there's a big storm, or at the end of the year, it's kind of windy. Maybe the power is going to go out, but it's going to be, oh my God, I think an hour exaggerating, but sometimes it's just a couple minutes. It's like a little tiny blackout. In 2 3 minutes, the power is going to be back on. The power is going to be back on. So I don't recall having large energy blackouts. No. In Santa Ana, I've heard that it's common for them to do maintenance on the network,
Okay.
but they let you know in advance. They say this Sunday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. there's not going to be any power because we're going to be doing maintenance work.
Okay.
But in San Salvador, it's very rare, very, very rare. Water is different, but it depends. It depends on the place where you're at. A hotel more than likely has a water tank.
Okay.
So even if they cut the service, they're still gonna have running water because they have big tanks. But when you're staying in a house,
Mm-hmm.
there's no guarantee that it's gonna have a water tank, so you might have a problem with the water. They cut it off. They do cut off water. But if you're in a hotel, that's not gonna be a problem. You're always gonna have water. It's like here in the Airbnb,
Okay.
we have never had any water shortages. Like no,
Okay.
that wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, people they want you to talk in Spanish. See what he said?
Ah, dicen que gracias por tocar estos temas y que si puedo hablar en español, claro que sí. Estamos tocando estos temas que son importantes para las personas que quieran viajar a El Salvador, incluso salvadoreños que viven en el exterior y que tienen un poco de nerviosismo de regresar a nuestro país. Estamos tocando estos temas para que puedan saber un poco más y puedan perder ese miedo de regresar, viajen, visitan a sus familias y sobre todo que puedan invertir un poco en el país.
Glad you clarified that for us. What about the nightlife? The nightlife. The nightlife. Do you guys have a nightlife here? You talked about Zona Rosa having a nightlife. What about the nightlife?
There is nightlife. There's a lot of bars, and at least I think that for the viewers in the US and Canada, they're gonna feel that it's super cheap compared to the US and Canada. So there's a lot of bars. There are clubs, um, but I don't think the nightlife is like super crazy. For example, if you want to go out on a Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe the bars are not going to be that full.
Okay, it's not like a Mexico.
Yeah, it's not
Or
like
Dominican Republic.
party every day.
Okay.
No, it's not like that. But you can still find a lot of places to go to. They're always opening new places with different type of vibes. There's clubs for everyone, whatever your preference is. You're gonna find a place that is right for you. If you like for example, just sitting at a bar having a nice couple drinks, you're gonna find a place. If you like fine dining or you need like a more expensive restaurant, you're gonna find a place. If you like dancing, you're gonna find a place. There's a little bit of everything for everyone, but most likely it's gonna be crowded from Thursday to Saturday. Sunday, people don't like to go out late at night because they have to go back to work on Monday.
Okay, what time of year is the off season? Do you recommend a particular time of year to visit El Salvador?
Well, El Salvador only has two seasons, summer and winter. That's the only two seasons that we have. Or basically the rainy season and
Mm,
the dry
okay.
season. The weather is going to be consistently warm throughout the year. So any time of the year would be a good time
Okay.
to come. However, I think that if you don't like the rain at all, I think the best months to come would be between October and February because it's going to rain less. Right now, the we're in the very middle of the rainy season. Actually, when you just arrived in El Salvador, it was raining like consistently every day,
Okay.
and it was pouring like very hard rain. So, and I don't know if it's because I like that time of the year, but I would recommend between October and December.
The best time
It's
to
the
come.
best time. That and it's gonna be San Salvador is not gonna be that hot. It's a little bit cooler and kind of windy. I think it's the best time.
Okay. The internet situation in El Salvador, is the internet strong? Is it reliable? Because a lot of people like me, I work online. You have a lot of people that's going to be traveling here from other parts of the world due to the COVID situation. People learn how to work online. So, how strong and reliable is the internet in the country of El Salvador, in your opinion?
Well, in I think it depends. For example, in a hotel, more than likely it's gonna be like super reliable. The bigger the hotel, the best the quality of the internet is gonna be because they are adapting to more like to fancier customers, right?
Hmm.
So they want to keep everyone satisfied and they know that a lot of people are traveling not for pleasure but for work. So a big hotel is going to have good internet. A smaller hotel or hostel, it depends on what you do, but if you're not using, I don't know, like a lot of internet, it's if it's something normal like watching videos or browsing on the internet, nothing crazy, I think you're gonna be safe almost everywhere. But the bad thing about El Salvador is that a lot of public places don't offer Wi-Fi. Like restaurants, some restaurants, bars, places like that, they don't give you Wi-Fi. And if you go to a coffee shop, the Wi-Fi is not gonna be the best one, but it still works. I mean, at least you can stay online. You can
Okay.
use your phone, receive messages, send messages, etc. We have even done lives from Starbucks, for
Yeah, that's
example.
true.
Starbucks has a very good internet. McDonald's has a very good internet. But in general, restaurants, smaller restaurants, don't like to share their Wi-Fi passcode.
Oh, they don't.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. This is a question that everybody wants to know. The dating situation down here in El Salvador. If a foreigner was coming down here and they wanted to meet a guy or a female, either way, wanted to meet El Salvadorian, is it a good dating situation down in El Salvador? How are the people here? How is your culture? How do you guys look at outsiders trying to date you guys? People from other countries coming here trying to date El Salvadorians. How do you guys look at that?
I think it's possible. It's not frowned upon. It's not like we're such a close minded society that it's like, oh no, you don't need to date a foreigner. I think it's completely possible. I know a lot of people that date foreigners or even have married
Okay.
foreigners, so it's completely possible. And I think it's not something. How can I say it? I'm not gonna say it's easy,
Okay.
but since we're friendly people, even if you feel shy about talking to girls, something's gonna happen and someone's gonna end up talking to you.
Okay.
You don't need, sometimes you don't even have to talk to people. They're gonna ask you, where are you from?
Okay.
And since we have a lot of call center jobs here,
Yes.
a lot of people speak English. So
Okay.
they're gonna ask you like, where are you from, or what are you doing here? What country do you come from? And the thing about Salvadorians is that we always try to find a way to start conversation.
Okay.
So it's completely 100% possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your country, just to make sure to let people know, because they always like to put all the countries in the box. You're not like a pay for play country. People know, people that need to hear that know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, it's not like that.
Okay. Let them know that loud and clear, because people assume
if you like I said, El Salvador has, we're not close minded, but we are kind of traditional, trying to a little bit conservative.
Okay.
So it's not gonna be out in the open.
Okay.
But if you're into that type of stuff and you know the right people, you can get it.
But it's not a big thing here.
But it is not.
It's not big.
Maybe it is a big thing for whoever is looking for it, but it's not out there. It's not like everywhere.
Okay.
More than likely, if a girl reaches out to you and starts talking to you, she's doing it like for real, for real.
Okay.
So I would advise people to be very careful and not assume that because a girl approached you, she's,
Okay.
it's not a business proposal all the time.
Culture-wise, how could you explain El Salvadorian culture overall?
El Salvadorian culture is we're taught to be very discreet, and overall we're kind of conservative. Like I told you before, there's not a lot of black people here, but no one will ever, and I can guarantee that no one will ever say that they something racist like in your face, like, no, we refuse to give you service at this restaurant, or the go back to your country type of things. That will never happen in El Salvador. If people have anything to say about you, the way you look, your race, the shoes you're wearing, whatever, they're just gonna wait until they're gone, and they're like, did you see that guy? Oh, he was black, blah, 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 blah. But they're never going to disrespect you to your face, because we're taught that that is very rude.
Okay.
Like, maybe it's like sometimes when we go out, people stare at you, and I see them making comments because I'm Salvadorian too, and I know that they're whispering, but they will never say anything to your face. And sometimes, even if they're whispering, maybe it's not even a bad thing, is that we're just like that. We're very family oriented. Religion is a big thing here in El Salvador.
What type of religion? What religion is the big religion here?
Christian in general, both Catholic and evangelical, from whatever denominations. There's Jehovah's Witnesses, there's Mormons, and 100 different Christian churches, and the main one is the Catholic one.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna see that every city has a Catholic church, like a big Catholic church. It's a big thing. Most of the holidays that we have in El Salvador are Catholic oriented. I mean, there are Catholic celebrations, like, for example, we celebrate the festivities of San Salvador that are because of the day of the divine savior of the world. That is our, or the Salvadorian saint. So a lot of things are related to religion, and family is very important to us. Most of us are close to our family. We like to have family celebrations, family gatherings. A lot of us come from big families, so you're gonna have a lot of cousins and nephews, nieces, and when everyone comes together, you don't even need to invite anyone else to your party. Family is more than enough. And I think we are conservative in the way that we don't like to overdo entertainment and light nightlife. because it's gonna look, it looks kind of bad, especially on women.
Okay.
Yeah, a woman that drinks and parties all night, they're always gonna have an opinion about that. I think that that type of things, it's better to do it in moderation,
Okay.
because there's still the stigma of I want to have a good image. I want to look like a respectable woman. I want to look like a decent person. Like there's still that um like we kind of do care what people think or what people are going to say about us. So we trying to keep an image. Your image in El Salvador is very important. The smaller the town, the more people are going
The
to
bigger
talk
the
about you.
image, yeah.
Yeah, in a very small town, people are not going to do crazy stuff because everyone knows each other and they're going to be talking about you for ages. So people try to, keep a good image.
Okay. Food. What's the food like if you compared it to the US or other countries? What is the food like here? How would you rate your food compared to food across the world? You know, I've been here a lot. I've been eating a lot of El Salvadorian food and a lot of dishes. The food is good to me compared to a lot of different countries I've been to. The food has been good to me. How would you rate your food overall? How do you like it? How do you think it rates in the world to other countries as far as food? How do you?
I think that our food is very tasty. We have a large diversity of like typical Salvadorian, actual Salvadorian recipes. Maybe our gastronomy is not as big and diverse as Mexico's, for example,
Okay.
but we do have a lot of traditional food. And in my opinion, almost everything is super delicious. The most famous thing that we have in El Salvador is pupusas,
Okay.
and basically pupusas are like a tortilla, but not like a taco tortilla. It's like a thicker tortilla, like a corn tortilla, and then you put a filling inside. It can be beans. Beans are a very big part of our diet. It's like beans in everything. You're gonna find beans in everything. So pupusas can have beans, cheese, pork. We have vegetarian pupusas, shrimp pupusas. They're very versatile, and we eat them with a little uh, cabbage type of salad and tomato sauce. That is like the main dish. You can find them everywhere in little stands on the street, in cafeterias, restaurants, everywhere. That is like our most famous dish. But besides that, we have the typical foods that are like tamales and things that are more specific to El Salvador. And then we have our everyday food. That is normally if you go for lunch to we call them comedor. It's like a restaurant,
Okay.
but they don't cook the food in the kitchen. They just serve it in tables, and you like they have it in, how do you call it?
You
It's
serve
like a buffet.
oh like a
Something,
buffet. Okay.
yeah, but it's not like you can eat over and over, but you can see all the options. So you can choose. It's like, oh, can you give me this, that, that? So if you go for lunch at that type of restaurant, you're gonna find the usual things: pork chops, chicken, um, beef, fried fish,
Uh huh.
and then more than likely it's gonna go with rice and salad. That's the normal Salvadorian lunch. And then for breakfast and dinner, beans, 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 beans. Also, dairy is important for us,
Mm-hmm.
like having cheese and cream
Okay.
in a house is like essential. In your house, you know that you're not gonna starve as long as you have beans, cheese, cream, tortillas, or bread, and even eggs. That's like the regular thing. But the food variety is incredible. And now I think El Salvador is also more health aware.
Okay.
And if you are let's say vegan or vegetarian or pescatarian or whatever these new diets are, you're always going to find restaurants that are going to give you options. And if you have the traditional food of El Salvador, there's many of vegetarian options. Unintentionally, Salvadorian cuisine can be vegetarian too.
Okay. So from 1 to 10, once again about the internet, because a lot of people want to know about the internet. From 1 to 10, 10 is the highest, the best internet you have. What the average internet in El Salvador? How would you rank it? And also, I'm gonna give you three questions in one.
Okay.
English teachers in El Salvador. How common is it to have English teachers? And also, back to the food real quick. Seafood. Seafood is what's the number one seafood you guys eat here?
Okay. Let's answer the food first. Seafood is a very big thing in 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 El Salvador. We love seafood. Is like the weekend type of food. Seafood and a couple beers. We're set. Seafood. We mainly eat fish, different types of fish. Shrimp is very common, and then there are people that are a little bit more adventurous, and we have a type of shellfish that we just call them conchas, just as is, and they're not very appealing when it comes to looks, but a lot of
Okay.
people like them, and we eat a lot of ceviches and shrimp cocktails and things like that, and fried fish. Fried fish is a big thing in El Salvador. We don't, not a lot of people like fish fillet. We prefer fried whole fish.
Okay.
That's regarding the food. Regarding the internet, um, I would say that if you are in a hotel, it's gonna be between an 8 and a 10.
8 and a
Very,
10.
yeah,
Very good.
8 and a 10. And if you are outside, depending on the place, a restaurant, coffee shop, it's gonna be between, uh, I think, between a 6 and an 8, something like
Okay.
that. But in a hotel, very good internet, and you can still buy, because we have done it for your friends visiting before.
Mm-hmm.
They can buy a Salvadorian SIM card,
Mm-hmm.
and they can buy their own internet. It is possible to do that as well. So you can have internet on your phone as well. And that way you don't have to rely on the Wi Fi to get messages and, be on WhatsApp, Telegram, or whatever messaging app that you use.
I hear you on that.
And then you said something about the English teachers.
English teacher. How common is it common to have English teacher? Because everybody's amazed that your English is so good, and I'm looking at them on the live and they saying that wow, our English is amazing. How common is English teachers here in El Salvador?
It is very common because for Salvadorians, we have like internalized the idea that English is going to give you more opportunities for different reasons. Some people want to get a better job. Some people is because, oh, my parents live in the US and they left me here, so eventually they're going to take me to the US, and I want to be bilingual so I don't struggle in the US and I don't have to work in, I don't know, cleaning houses or something like that, which is a respectable job, of course. But people sometimes are thinking in getting a different type of job in the US. If you speak English, more opportunities. If you are a person that education is a big thing for you, you think of colleges. You can study abroad. If you're bilingual, it's going to give you more college options, or you can work in another country. So, English is very important for us. There's a lot of English academies. Um, I think in the 90s, we had very few bilingual schools, but now regular Salvadorian schools are implementing English more. Like, for example, the high school I graduated from was not bilingual at all when I studied there, and now it's bilingual.
Aha.
Yeah. So now, and they receive actual classes. Like for example, you can receive science in English. It's not only the English class. Your regular subjects, you receive them in English, so you can practice, and you don't have to go to English classes on the side like I did, because I went to my regular school in the morning, and in the afternoon they will take me to my English courses. But yeah, English is a big thing. A lot of English teachers. You're gonna find academies, private tutors, everything.
Okay. Since you live in Central America, why are not the all the Central American I said companies, countries united? I seem like it's a division among the Central American countries. Why? Why? Why?
Um, I think there's a lot of factors, and I don't want to offend anyone, so I'm not gonna go into the little petty fights that countries have. Like, for
Mhm.
example, people have, for the longest time, they have dragged that Salvadorians and Hondurans don't get along because of some dumb thing. Like, it was like a soccer match. I don't know, something like that. I don't want to go into that
Mhm.
because I think it's useless to give more energy to this type of things. I think that the real reason is that the economies are not equal. Politically, we're very diverse and also very corrupted. So that has separated the countries in Central America, because in the 60s and 70s, the countries were sticking together. They had like free trade agreement, so like we could export and import between Central American countries with no problem. But that disappeared in the 80s, because the 80s, most of the countries in Latin America were having a civil war, or they were living a dictatorship. So I think that those political reasons made us divide. For example, Nicaragua is living a dictatorship, and they
Right now?
have, yeah, that they have had the same president for ages. Like, he's not letting go. They have had the same president for ages, and I think that his views are very, I don't want to say extreme, but they're very particular views. And he was very close to Fidel Castro and Hugo Chavez back in the day.
Mhm.
And for example, in El Salvador, we had a lot of right wing governments. So you didn't want to be associated with a president whose best friends were Fidel and Hugo. It didn't
Okay.
look good.
So the Central
So
American politics.
Nicaragua was like isolated, like the quote unquote the communist country, because they're friends with the Cubans and the Venezuelans, and we don't want to have anything to do with that. But things have been changing. I think that hopefully one day the Central American countries can be united again. But yeah, the main reason why we're not is because our economies are very different. For example, Costa Rica has a stronger economy, and that's why they like to isolate themselves. It's like we're like the poor ones, and they're living a little bit better, and they take pride on having less corruption, less crime, no gangs, things like that. And the rest of us, we have a lot of social, economic, and political problems.
Okay. And closing, anything else you want to say to entice people to come to El Salvador? Because you guys, for many and many, 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 many years, people have been scared to come to El Salvador because of what old media has said about El Salvador. Any last words to convince people that they should give your country a chance? They should come visit El Salvador, enjoy the food, enjoy the culture, and go enjoy the lifestyle, enjoy the way you live life, enjoy everything about El Salvador.
Yeah, I would think like the best thing that you can do is try to make like set your preconceived ideas aside and give the country a chance. You don't have to come here and stay 1 month. It can be, I don't know, a week at first, or a weekend, a long weekend. And then little by little, you're going to start getting to know the country. You're going to see that it's not as horrible as the news make it seem. It's a very modern country. We have all of, like, basically all of the services that you have in the US too. Like, we have Uber Eats, we have regular Uber, we have Airbnb, we have internet, we have electricity all the time. There's malls, there's nice restaurants. You're gonna find almost every single fast food restaurant that you have in the US, you're going to find it here. Big supermarkets. We have nice roads. Most of the roads in San Salvador are nice. It's very modern, and I can guarantee that it's gonna be way better than what you thought it was. So give it a chance. Come here. You can do as much or as little as you feel comfortable with. You can just stay in the hotel in the safest areas, and I'm sure that by the end of the trip, you're gonna want to come back again because the vibe here is very laid back. Everyone's chilling. You're gonna see that everyone's very friendly, willing to help you, and the best thing is that it's not that expensive. You can move around easily because the country is small. That is a big advantage. You don't have to drive or ride a bus for hours and hours and hours. It's a small country, and give it a chance. Help us out. We use all the help that we can get, and tourism helps us a lot because when people come and visit, they make our economy more dynamic. They're spending money here. They are opening the possibility for more jobs. It's overall it's good, and you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna have a good experience, and I'm almost 100% sure that you're gonna want to come back again.
All right, then, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I'm glad you could tune into this live with us. We did it a little different today, just trying something different out. So we did it a little different today, but I'll do another video with her about El Salvador in the near future, so she can talk about like healthcare and the war in the '80s and what put El Salvador in a certain light in a certain situation. She's very, very, very knowledgeable about our country. Shout out to D for doing the interview with us, and she's definitely going to do more and more interviews with us. We want more. We want more. Not a problem. Just give us a couple days and we'll do another interview like this and see what you guys think of it. God bless you all. Have a blessed day, night, afternoon, morning, wherever you're at in the world. And say it with me. El Salvador to the world, baby. El Salvador to the world.